the last daughter of Nixus. The aurora borealis danced across the Montana sky, its ethereal lights masking a more dramatic show taking place in the upper atmosphere. A sleek vessel, its hull crackling with residual energy from interstellar travel, broke through Earth's thermosphere at a dangerous angle. Inside, Commander Astrid Rain fought with failing controls, her luminescent silver eyes reflecting the emergency lights that bathed her ship's cockpit in crimson. She was the last. The final survivor of the Nixian High Command, carrying within her genetic matrix the hope of an entire civilization. The Void Dominion had been thorough in their extermination campaign, transforming her homeworld into a graveyard of crystalline spires and broken dreams. But they had made one crucial mistake: they had underestimated her determination to survive. The ship's AI sparked and fizzled, its voice distorting as it announced multiple system failures. Astrid's four-fingered hands danced across the neural interface panels, her iridescent skin glowing brighter with each surge of adrenaline. Computer, identify viable landing zones within range. Scanning. Multiple impact sites detected. Optimal landing zone, elevated terrain, minimal population density, coordinates 45 degrees north, 111 degrees west. The Rocky Mountains loomed ahead as Astrid guided her failing vessel toward the designated coordinates. The ship's outer hull began to glow cherry red as it cut through the mesosphere, pieces of the thermal shielding breaking away like shooting stars. Marcus Thorne was enjoying a quiet evening at his mountain cabin when the sky lit up like daybreak. The former Special Forces operative grabbed his rifle and emergency kit out of pure instinct, years of training kicking in as he tracked the descending object. Whatever it wasn't any aircraft he recognized, and after 15 years in various global hotspots, he knew them all. The impact shook the forest floor, sending a flock of startled birds into the night sky. Marcus moved through the trees with practiced silence, his breath forming small clouds in the crisp mountain air. The crash site was surprisingly contained, no widespread debris field, no fire. Just a sleek, otherworldly vessel half buried in the rocky soil, its surface rippling with what looked like liquid metal. He was still 50 yards out when a section of the hull seemed to dissolve, revealing a figure that made him question everything he knew about reality. She, and despite her alien features, she was definitely female, stood at least 6 feet tall, with skin that seemed to shimmer like mother-of-pearl in the moonlight. Her hair, if you could call it that, moved like living mercury, and her eyes. Those eyes locked onto him immediately, despite his concealed position. "I know you're there," she called out in perfect English, though her voice carried an otherworldly harmonic that made the hair on his neck stand up. "I mean no harm, but I need help." Marcus emerged slowly from cover, keeping his rifle pointed downward but ready. "That's usually my line," he said, trying to inject some humor into what was rapidly becoming the strangest night of his life. "But I'm guessing you're a long way from home." Astrid took a step forward and immediately stumbled, her body finally succumbing to the stress of atmospheric entry and crash landing. Marcus moved without thinking, closing the distance to catch her before she hit the ground. Her skin was warm to the touch and seemed to pulse with its own inner light. "The Void Dominion," she whispered, fighting to stay conscious. "They'll come. Earth isn't ready." Her eyes rolled back as she passed out in his arms, leaving Marcus with an unconscious alien warrior and 1,000 questions racing through his mind. As he carried her back to his cabin, the aurora continued its celestial dance overhead, oblivious to the fact that Earth's destiny had just changed forever. In the crashed ship's cockpit, a warning light began to pulse, detecting distant signals that could only mean one thing: the Void Dominion had already picked up their quarry's trail. The night was far from over, and humanity's greatest challenge was about to begin. Hidden among stars. Dawn broke over the Montana Rockies, painting the snow-capped peaks in shades of amber and rose. Inside Marcus's cabin, Astrid lay on the couch, her iridescent skin pulsing with a soft, rhythmic glow. Marcus hadn't slept, dividing his time between watching over his unexpected guest and making periodic checks on her crashed vessel. The alien commander stirred, her mercury-like hair shifting and flowing as she regained consciousness. Her silver eyes snapped open, instantly alert. "How long was I unconscious?" "About 6 hours," Marcus replied, offering her a cup of water. "I figured even advanced alien beings need to stay hydrated." Astrid accepted the cup, studying it briefly before taking a careful sip. "Your assumption is correct. Our physiological needs are surprisingly similar." She paused, her expression growing serious. "You haven't contacted your authorities?" It wasn't a question. Marcus shrugged, leaning against his desk. "I figured anyone running from something bad enough to cross galaxies might want to keep a low profile. Former Special Forces, we tend to understand these situations." "Your instincts serve you well," Astrid said, rising smoothly to her feet. She moved with an otherworldly grace that made every motion seem like liquid silk. "But I need to return to my ship. There are systems that must be salvaged before." A high-pitched whine cut through the morning air, making Marcus's teeth ache. Astrid's skin flared bright, her expression turning to one of contained panic. "They're here. Sooner than I calculated." Marcus was already moving, grabbing his go-bag and rifle. "The Void Dominion? A scout ship. They're faster than I remembered." Astrid strode to the window, her hair writhing with agitation. "I won't involve you in this. My war isn't Earth's burden. Hate to break it to you, Commander, but if they followed you here, it already is." Marcus checked his ammunition, muscle memory from countless operations taking over. "Besides, my cabin's about to become a war zone anyway. Might as well make it count." They moved through the forest with practiced efficiency, her alien grace complementing his tactical experience. As they approached the crash site, Astrid explained in hushed tones about the technology they needed to recover. "My ship's genetic repository contains the complete DNA archive of my species," she said as they crouched behind a fallen log. "More importantly, it contains the key to why the Void Dominion wants us extinct. My people discovered something about the nature of consciousness and genetic memory that frightened them." Above them, the sky rippled like heat waves over hot asphalt as a dark shape descended through the atmosphere. Unlike Astrid's elegant vessel, this craft was all sharp angles and predatory intent, its surface seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. "They're scanning for Nixian energy signatures," Astrid whispered, her skin dimming to match the forest's shadows. "The repository is shielded, but my ship's core will lead them right to us." Marcus studied the approaching vessel through his rifle scope. "So we need a diversion. How sensitive are these scanners?" Astrid turned to him, her silver eyes widening as she followed his train of thought. "The core's signature is unique, but any significant energy explosion would create interference. Good thing I keep some toys from my old job." Marcus pulled a specialized breaching charge from his pack. "Military grade, guaranteed to make a bang." "You're suggesting we trigger an explosion to mask our retrieval of the repository?" Astrid's hair swirled with what Marcus was beginning to recognize as excitement. "A simple but effective strategy. But the timing must be perfect." They split up, Marcus heading to set charges on the opposite ridge while Astrid prepared to access her ship's sealed compartments. As he worked, Marcus couldn't help but marvel at how quickly he'd adapted to the situation. Yesterday, aliens were science fiction. Today, he was helping one outmaneuver hostile forces while trying not to think too hard about how her otherworldly beauty affected him. The Void Dominion ship was almost directly overhead when Marcus reached his designated position. Through his binoculars, he could see Astrid slipping into her crashed vessel, her form briefly illuminated by internal lights. His radio crackled, another piece of equipment she'd quickly adapted to. "Repository secured. Their ground forces are deploying. We have perhaps 2 minutes." Marcus primed the charges. Ready on your mark, Commander. Marcus. Her voice softened. What I'm about to show you, it will change your understanding of everything. Are you prepared for that? He thought about all the mysteries he'd encountered in his military career, all the questions he'd learned to stop asking. I'm already past the point of no return. Besides, someone once told me the best way to handle the impossible is to take it one firefight at a time. Her laugh carried that strange, beautiful harmonic. On my mark then. 3, 2, 1. Marcus triggered the charges just as Astrid emerged from her ship carrying what looked like a crystalline sphere. The explosion rocked the mountainside, sending a cascade of electromagnetic interference into the air. The Void Dominion ship sensors would be overwhelmed, but only for moments. As he ran to the rendezvous point, Marcus saw Astrid's skin begin to glow brighter, pulsing with power. The crystalline sphere in her arms responded, its surface swirling with colors he had no words for. They met at the tree line, just as the first energy bolts from Void Dominion weapons began scarring the forest around them. Astrid pressed close to him, her free hand gripping his shoulder. Do you trust me? More weapons fire, getting closer. Do I have a choice? There's always a choice. Her skin was almost blindingly bright now. But sometimes the universe has plans we don't expect. The crystalline sphere pulsed once, and reality seemed to fold around them. The last thing Marcus saw before everything shifted was the look in Astrid's silver eyes, determination mixed with something that might have been hope. The war for Earth's future had begun, but the greatest revelation was yet to come. In that crystalline sphere, encoded in strands of alien DNA, lay a truth that would forever change both their species' destiny. Echoes of tomorrow. Reality snapped back into focus like a rubber band, leaving Marcus and Astrid in what appeared to be an abandoned underground facility. The concrete walls were covered in decades of dust, but the air was surprisingly fresh. Marcus's military training kicked in as he scanned their surroundings, his rifle at the ready. Welcome to Echo Base, Astrid said, her skin's glow dimming to a subtle shimmer. One of several emergency sanctuaries my advanced scouts established on Earth centuries ago. Marcus lowered his weapon, taking in the alien technology seamlessly integrated into the Earth architecture. Your people have been watching us. Guiding. Protecting. Astrid placed the crystalline sphere in a receptor that seemed to grow from the floor. We discovered Earth during our golden age, when we first mastered interstellar travel. Your species showed such remarkable potential, adaptability, creativity, an unmatched drive to survive against all odds. The facility hummed to life around them, holographic displays flickering into existence. Marcus watched in amazement as one wall became a window into space, showing Earth from orbit. If you've been here all along, why didn't you help us more directly? Astrid's mercury-like hair rippled with what he now recognized as sadness. The same reason we became targets of the Void Dominion. We learned the hard way that too much intervention can be as dangerous as none at all. She turned to face him, her silver eyes intense. But now we have no choice. They'll come in force, not just for me, but for Earth too. Why? What makes us so special? This. Astrid touched a control panel, and a DNA helix appeared in the air between them. One strand glowed with familiar earthly molecules, while the other shimmered with exotic patterns Marcus had never seen. Human DNA contains sequences that are remarkably similar to Nixian genetic patterns. My people didn't just find Earth by chance, we were drawn here by an ancient connection. The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. You're saying we're related? More than that. Astrid's skin pulsed with excitement. Humans possess genetic markers that could be key to restoring my species. Your incredible adaptability, your ability to survive in almost any environment, these aren't accidents. They're echoes of abilities my people once had, abilities the Void Dominion feared. Before Marcus could process this revelation, alarms blared throughout the facility. Holographic screens showed multiple entry points into Earth's atmosphere. The Void Dominion's main assault force had arrived. "How long do we have?" Marcus asked, already moving to check the facility's defenses. "Hours, maybe less." Astrid interfaced with the base's systems, her movements swift and precise. "But we're not alone. Echo Base was designed to connect with your world's defense networks. We just need to convince your military that we're on their side." Marcus smiled grimly. "I might know some people who'd listen. Still have contacts from my special forces days, including a few who deal with unusual threats." "Good, because what I'm about to show you will require trust on both sides." Astrid led him deeper into the facility, to a chamber that took his breath away. Rows of sleek combat suits lined the walls, each one a perfect fusion of human and Nixian design. "Battle suits," she explained, running her hand along one. "Designed to be compatible with human physiology. My people believe that one day we might need to fight alongside Earth's defenders." Marcus approached one of the suits, noticing how it seemed to respond to his presence. "This is why they're really coming, isn't it? Not just for you, but for all of this, your technology, your knowledge. The Void Dominion exists to consume, to absorb other species' advancements while erasing their cultures." Astrid's voice hardened. "They fear what humanity might become with access to Nixian technology, especially given our genetic compatibility." She turned to him, closing the distance between them. Up close, the alien beauty of her features was even more striking. "Marcus, what I'm asking for goes beyond asylum. I'm proposing an alliance, between my technology and your people's strength. But it has to start with us." Their eyes met, silver alien irises locked with human brown, and something unspoken passed between them. Here they stood, representatives of two species separated by light years but connected by strands of DNA and a shared desire to protect what they held dear. "I've spent my life fighting other people's wars," Marcus said finally. "Maybe it's time to fight one that really matters." Astrid smiled, and for a moment her ethereal glow filled the chamber. "Then let's show the Void Dominion why they were right to fear our species working together." Above them, Earth's militaries were detecting the incoming invasion fleet. In orbit, Void Dominion ships began taking up attack positions. But in Echo Base, something unprecedented was taking shape, a partnership that would either save both their species or doom them together. The next few hours would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future of human evolution itself. And as Marcus and Astrid prepared for the battle ahead, neither of them could deny that their personal stakes in this war had become irrevocably intertwined. Warriors of two worlds. The battle suit melded to Marcus's body like a second skin, its alien alloys flowing and adjusting until the fit was perfect. Through the neural interface, he could feel the suit's systems integrating with his own nervous system, enhancing his strength, speed, and awareness to superhuman levels. Beside him, Astrid wore her own commander's armor, her iridescent skin glowing in harmony with the suit's power matrix. They stood in Echo Base's command center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the unfolding invasion. Void Dominion ships had taken position around Earth's major population centers, their dark hulls like wounds in the sky. "Your military contacts came through," Astrid said, monitoring the global response. "They're coordinating with our base's defense network. But the Void Dominion's technology is still centuries ahead of Earth's current capabilities. Then we'll have to even the odds." Marcus checked the weapon systems integrated into his suit. "You said these suits were designed for human-Nixian cooperation. Time to put that to the test." The first attacks came without warning. Void Dominion energy weapons struck military installations worldwide, their targeting precise and devastating. But they hadn't counted on Echo Base's countermeasures. Shields of pure energy bloomed over key cities, the ancient Nixian technology responding to the combined commands of human and alien defenders. "They're deploying ground forces," Astrid announced, her hair writhing with tactical calculations. Cybernetically enhanced shock troops. They'll target the shield generators first. Marcus watched as black drop ships descended through Earth's atmosphere. Then that's where we make our stand. How many suits can we power up? Enough for your special forces teams, once they arrive. Astrid's eyes met his, silver irises intense. But Marcus, there's something you need to know. The neural interface goes both ways. The longer you wear the suit, the more your DNA will be affected by its Nixian components. What kind of effects are we talking about? Enhancement. Evolution. The very thing the Void Dominion fears. She stepped closer, her hand touching his armored chest. Your genetic structure is already showing signs of adaptation. If we survive this, you may become something more than human. Before Marcus could respond, proximity alarms blared. A Void Dominion strike team had breached the perimeter, targeting Echo Base directly. Through the suit's enhanced senses, Marcus could feel them approaching, dozens of cybernetic warriors, their humanity long since sacrificed to their master's control. They're not just here for the base, Astrid said grimly. They're here for me. The last pure Nixian genetic template. If they capture me, they can ensure my species never returns. Marcus activated his suit's weapon systems, feeling the power build through its neural interface. That's not going to happen. Your fight is my fight now. They moved as one, years of combat experience melding with alien technology. The battle suits responded to their every thought, turning them into blurs of motion as they engaged the enemy. Marcus's enhanced strength let him tear through cybernetic armor like paper, while Astrid's mastery of Nixian tech created fields of pure energy that disintegrated their foes. But the Void Dominion forces kept coming. For every warrior they defeated, two more took its place. Fighting back to back, Marcus and Astrid found themselves surrounded in Echo Base's main chamber. The genetic repository, Astrid shouted over the chaos of battle. If they breach the containment chamber, everything we've fought for is lost. Marcus saw it in her eyes, she was preparing to sacrifice herself to protect the last hope of her species. Without thinking, he grabbed her arm. There's another way. The suits, the neural interface, you said they're changing my DNA? Understanding dawned in her silver eyes. A direct genetic transfer? It's never been attempted between our species. But it's possible? A massive explosion rocked the base. The Void Dominion was getting closer to the repository. Astrid's skin pulsed with intense light as she made her decision. Possible, yes. But it would bind us together on a molecular level. There's no going back from that kind of merger. Marcus looked at the warrior before him, alien yet somehow more familiar than anyone he'd ever known. Maybe that's exactly what both our species need. Their suits' neural interfaces synchronized as Astrid initiated the transfer sequence. Energy coursed between them, human and Nixian DNA interweaving in ways that defied conventional science. Through their merged consciousness, Marcus glimpsed the true history of both their species, ancient connections, shared ancestors among the stars, and a future that could only be reached together. The Void Dominion forces breached the final door just as the transfer completed. What they found stopped them in their tracks. Marcus and Astrid stood transformed, their battle suits glowing with unprecedented power. Human determination merged with Nixian technology, creating something entirely new. Still think our species are worth destroying? Marcus's voice carried new harmonics, while his eyes now held a hint of silver. Astrid raised her hand, her power now amplified by their genetic bond. Let's show them what evolution really means. The battle that followed would be remembered in both human and alien histories. But the real war was just beginning, and its outcome would reshape the galaxy itself. Beyond the stars. The skies above Earth blazed with warfare. Void Dominion capital ships descended through the atmosphere, their dark hulls crackling with destructive energy. But this time, they faced something unprecedented, a united defense force of humans and awakened Nixian technology, led by two beings who had transcended the boundaries of their species. Marcus and Astrid soared through the clouds, their merged genetic structure allowing them to push their battle suits beyond their original design limits. Behind them flew squadrons of Earth's fighter pilots, their aircraft now enhanced with Nixian shield technology. The genetic repository's data had been distributed to secure facilities worldwide, ensuring that even if they fell, the legacy of both species would survive. Their flagship is entering low orbit, Astrid communicated through their shared neural link. Her thoughts carried images of Nixian tactical data, showing the massive vessel's weak points. The Archon himself is commanding this assault. Marcus processed the information instantly, his enhanced consciousness mapping out attack vectors. He's finally showing himself. After all the worlds he's destroyed, all the species he's consumed, he's afraid of what we've become. They had learned the truth during their genetic merger. The Void Dominion wasn't just an empire, it was a philosophy of enforced stagnation. They destroyed or subjugated any species that threatened to evolve beyond their control. The human Nixian potential represented their worst nightmare, natural evolution combined with technological advancement. The Archon's flagship unleashed a barrage that lit up the stratosphere. But the merged warriors were ready. Their synchronized movements created interference patterns in the enemy's energy weapons, while Earth's military forces executed precisely coordinated strikes using Astrid's tactical guidance. They're targeting the planetary defense grid, Marcus observed, watching through enhanced senses as Void Dominion drop ships descended toward the shield generators. We need to end this now. Astrid's consciousness brushed against his, sharing a desperate plan. The Archon's ship uses quantum mechanics to consume other civilizations' technology. But our merged energy signature might overload their systems. A reverse consumption? Marcus understood immediately. Use their own weapons against them? Yes, but it would require direct contact with their core. Astrid's thoughts carried both determination and concern. We'd have to breach their flagship's defenses. Marcus smiled inside his helmet. Good thing we've got an army of humans wearing Nixian battle suits. Time to show the Void Dominion why they should have left Earth alone. The assault on the flagship was fierce and calculated. While Earth's forces engaged the support fleet, Marcus and Astrid led a strike team of enhanced human warriors through the enemy vessel's defenses. Their merged DNA allowed them to interface directly with the ship's systems, turning its own technology against it. They fought their way to the quantum core chamber, where the Archon awaited. He was a towering figure of shadow and machine, his original form lost to centuries of technological consumption. You think this union of species makes you stronger? The Archon's voice resonated through their minds. You've only proven why such combinations must be prevented. Order through separation. Progress through control. You're wrong, Astrid declared, her skin glowing with unprecedented power. Evolution isn't something to be feared. It's what gives life meaning. Marcus stepped forward, his enhanced form radiating both human determination and Nixian energy. Our species were meant to find each other. To grow together. That's the future you couldn't control. Their combined attack hit the Archon with the force of two species' determination to survive. The quantum core began to overload, their merged energy signature causing a cascading reaction through the flagship systems. The Void Dominion's own technology, designed to consume and control, was being overwhelmed by the power of genuine evolution. The ship's coming apart, Marcus communicated through their link. But the reaction, it's creating something. Astrid understood. A bridge. A doorway to somewhere new. Her thoughts merged with his, sharing a vision of possibility. The next step in both our species' journey. As the flagship's core breached, reality itself seemed to bend around them. The Void Dominion forces, their control systems corrupted by the overload, fell into disarray. But Marcus and Astrid, along with their human Nixian strike force, found themselves drawn into a realm of pure potential. Through their merged consciousness, they glimpsed the true legacy of their union, not just the preservation of two species, but the birth of something entirely new. The genetic bridge between humans and Nixians had opened a door to accelerated evolution, creating defenders capable of protecting other worlds from the Void Dominion's remains. The war ended not with the destruction of their enemy, but with transformation. The Human-Nixian alliance became a beacon for other species seeking to break free from enforced stagnation. Earth, once a hidden cradle of potential, emerged as a center of interstellar cooperation and evolutionary advancement. And at the heart of this new age stood two beings who had dared to cross the boundaries of their species. Marcus and Astrid, forever connected by their merged DNA, became living proof that the greatest strength lies not in consumption or control, but in the willingness to evolve together. Their story would be told across 1,000 worlds, not just as a tale of survival or victory, but as a testament to the power of trust, love, and the courage to become something more than anyone thought possible. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, illuminating a future where humanity's potential was no longer bound by the limits of a single species. The journey that had begun with a crashed ship in the Montana wilderness had opened a path to the next chapter in the story of life itself. And somewhere in the depths of space, new adventures awaited.